I hate your beard and uniform. I hate your shaving profile. I hate your religious exemption. I hate the fact that soldiers are abusing this privilege day in and day out, and they're proud of it.
Master Sergeant that raised his right hand and said, I will protect, support, and defend the Constitution of the United States, is saying he does not care about your religious exemptions of policies that could infringe on your rights as a citizen before the soldier. And we must quote Constitution. We must quote founding fathers. George Washington said, "Get out my face." No, I'm just kidding. He said, when we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen. Now, this Master Sergeant is crashing out on his TikTok saying that people are abusing and actually not having their rights exercised in their way, shape, or form. And I would say that would also be part of freedom of speech, but that's just me contemplating from a third-party perspective. Watch what he says.
Let me talk about religious exemptions first. I can't tell you how many times I've come across soldiers that claim that they are a certain religion and can't even explain their basic tenets of faith. I also can't tell you how many times shaving profiles have been abused. People that don't need a shaving profile, they claim they need it, and they go ahead and get it because they want to look cool in uniform. We should have beards in the U.S. Army. Well, listen, other countries have beards. We should have beards. Well, if you want to go be in somebody else's army, go and be in somebody else's army. If you want to be in the U.S. Army, males, you need to shave your face. I understand there are exceptions and medical conditions. Like, I get all that. Don't think I'm that stupid. And please don't come at me stupid in the comments.
No one's coming at you stupid. When we go from this angle, I get your perspective. I think this gray area he's writing here is essentially where you're going to lose the battle, because you're going to get in this culture of like, oh, in order to prove you're this faith, you must do X, Y, and Z, and you must remember every bit of this Bible, and you must do all of these different ceremonies. Like, I think that the beauty of religion is the fact that people can follow it in some loose form or format that doesn't have to be regimented, and some are more regimented than others. And then on top of that, abusing a shaving profile where, yes, I understand that you're upset by this as a leader. It is not your jurisdiction as a Master Sergeant to control whether people are approved or denied for them. You are to follow the commander's guidance, and medical makes recommendations in order to ensure that they are following the administrative guidance of this.
But I know it's being abused. Somebody watching this is abusing it. You're not supposed to line it up and have cute little lines and all this other stuff. You're abusing it. All right. If you need the shaving profile, you must obey what the shaving profile says. It's usually like a quarter or an eighth of an inch all over. Okay. You can't line it up. You can't do little designs. It's not for fashion. It's for function. And for those of you poor soldiers that actually have to have a shaving exemption, that condition is terrible. And I sympathize with you completely. But also, you need to obey your profile.
And by the way, fashion, function, I get it. He's blurting out here that he's like, it's a quarter inch, eighth inch. Depending on the branch, there are things that are different. The Navy, from what I've seen in their guidance, they are allowed to line it up. The Army, from what he's saying, I could look this up, those could change, right?
And if you're a physician that just takes the soldier's word for it, come on, have a little backbone. It's the Army. If you can't shave your face and it's a medical condition, got it. Pay attention to your profile. But if you just don't want to shave your face because you're trying to make it your Army, get out of here with that nonsense. I'm tired of seeing it. It disrespects the uniform. And I said what I said. I'm retired. Come at me if you want.
Yikes. He said, come at me if you want, because he's retired, which brought a lot of the scrutiny against this Master Sergeant retired. Essentially, why are you in uniform on TikTok then? And just to give you some insight on this person, they are a TikToker that uses the handle Army_Reserve_info, retired Master Sergeant of the Guard, 100% total personal account. Lighten up is what he says. Now, I'm all about, I understand this, that there are people that are using and manipulating the system or whatever arbitrariness. Like, to be real with you, the shaving chits are more of a hindrance or issue probably for the medical provider than anyone else, because they are the most hands-on dealing with it, providing documentation, documenting it, stuff like that, in order for that to happen. So, the commanding officer is really just made aware. If they want to say no to it, they totally could. There are administrative processing that can be done for these people to get out. I'm sure that's happened to some people, but the message was lost for this Master Sergeant retired as people in the comments came after. Government Property says, my biggest fear is retiring and not moving on with my life. And someone also says, thankfully your feelings are irrelevant since we're talking about our feelings. I like being retired, but putting on our uniform to make social media content is disrespectful to the uniform. You're trying to use your former service to gain engagement. And he responds and says, 27 years defending the right to type weak comments from a couch. Now that's real service. But thanks for checking on my feelings, champ. More people came at him and said, why are you making videos in uniform if you're retired? And he says, why do you care? And someone says, thank God the Army is moving on from these type of leaders. And someone below that says, as a AC career counselor, you're the reason soldiers hate talking to us. You insert your feelings into AR. Congratulations on your retirement, but do better. Now, that was not the only response that did come out from this retired Master Sergeant that decided to kind of have a few last words with these guys and take off the uniform.
Hello, everyone. Master Sergeant Roth, retired. Now that I'm out of uniform, do I have your attention? Is this out of uniform? Is this acceptable for all the vet bros out there? Let's talk regulations. Many of you have decided to take it upon yourself to educate me of 27 years of service. You call me a nerd and then you get mad at me when I know the regulations. Many of you have said that I am not allowed to wear the uniform anymore now that I'm retired unless I'm going to a funeral or traveling to a funeral or something like that. Totally understand where you're getting your partial information from. Allow me to educate you a little bit further. And in fact, if you can prove to me that I'm not allowed to wear my uniform when I do these things, then I won't. Okay? It's nothing personal, but I'm authorized. 23-1, paragraph A states, as used in this regulation, the phrase occasions of ceremony means occasions essentially of a military character at which the uniform is more appropriate than civilian clothing. These functions include, but are not limited to, military balls, military parades, weddings, military funerals, memorial services, meetings, conferences, or similar functions of associations formed for military purposes of which the membership is composed largely or entirely of current and honorably discharged veterans of the armed forces of the United States. Authority to wear the uniform includes wear while traveling to and from, provided blah, 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 blah. You can read it for yourself. I talk to military people in uniform about military topics. That is definitely within the purview of 23-1. And if it includes a spicy opinion about military life, service, etc., I am more than authorized. It's not specifically prohibited and well within this paragraph. So come at me if you would like, but you're wrong. And I know better than to discredit the uniform, discredit the United States Army, or anyone else that has served honorably for this great nation. So you don't have to like it, but I'm not doing anything wrong. Bye.
This side of the hill I'll die on. Yes, he is correct. He can. But just because you can does not mean you should. Even for somebody to wear a dress uniform at a wedding, unless I would say that member was asking you to do that, I get kind of iffy on that if somebody's willing to go, because you don't want to take attention away from the other guests that are there. And you really, I don't know about anybody else, I don't want to wear the uniform unless I have to. Now, is it true that he is probably using this uniform to gain traction, to bring attention? Yes. Secondly, is he talking to mostly military people? Yes. Thirdly, I'm going to say this is where it's interesting. He does say he is retired on his bio. That is respectful. But at the same time, there are plenty of people that are out there that are going to assume that he is still active duty if they don't go through all this research and kind of look at this to really decipher that he is no longer in the military, because he is wearing a uniform, and the average person out there is going to say, you look like you are part of the military. So for those people that are out there that do content in uniform, they know that it gives credibility or some certain level of respect that comes with that. But in my purview, I'm like, wouldn't it be better if you as a human being had the purview of like, what I say is what people agree with? They agree with me because my name is Joe and I have good ideas and I am riding on that rather than riding on the back of leading with my rank that is still a rank, but it's retired. that is where I think this lays for me, and I think it's important to create an identity outside of the military. Like, as much as he has a right to, I'm going to say, I just would rather you talk not in uniform. I would rather you know where your place is at and be like, I need to hang this up. I need to move on. I need to figure out who Joe is. I don't know if your name's Joe, but I'm just showing an example. That is part of the process of getting out of the military. If I wanted to stay in the military, I would have stayed in and figured every way out possible. But a lot of people find that to be very difficult, and he's going through that. Sounds like he recently retired, so I will give kudos to him on that as well. Thanks for your service. I do appreciate it. But just want to say those are my 2 cents. I'd leave it up to you guys in the comments, but this is where I leave it to you guys in the comments. What do you guys think about this Master Sergeant pretty much just going off the rails? But I'll see you guys in the comments. Take care. I love you guys. See you next time.